Hi all, and welcome back to Let's Play Megaman Zero 2. Last time we decimated Heilig Orabuckle in the Forest of Dices, and explored the rest of the Resistance base. Now we'll be heading off on another mission in a second, but first I'm going to switch to the power form we just acquired. You see, every time we get a new form, I'll be using it for the subsequent mission, because they all play slightly differently, and it can be fun to see how it affects the way you play the game. As a reminder, the power form is slightly more powerful, yet also slightly slower than our default form. Additionally, we can't use our combo slash while using it. This time around, we'll be fighting Panther Claws on the train of Neo Arcadia. To be honest, this is probably my least favorite mission that we currently have available, but I'll be getting more into that once we actually enter. Now, it should be immediately obvious to veterans that something's off here. See, there was a mission in the last game called Destroy the Train, in which we had to board a Neo-Arcadian transport train and blow it up. The train we're currently standing on is literally just copy-pasted from that mission. I'll get more into why that's a bad thing in just a second, but first we gotta get an extremely cliché cyber elf placed directly behind the starting line. This guy is a carry arm, and the thing he's carrying is called a spiking. They were in the first game, and they're both extremely annoying enemies because they come out of nowhere, blindside you, and have way too much health, which basically means if you don't know they're already coming, they are going to hit you. This stage requires quite a bit of memorization because, you might have already noticed, there's rail gates passing by in the background. You'll see two yellow lights flash by, followed by a red one, and that's your cue to jump the heck out of the way because otherwise that thing's going to crash right into you, and it does a crap load of damage. Not fun at all. Now, you've probably noticed by now that I've basically just been walking right. See, that's why I don't really like this stage. You can basically win it just by running right, shooting, and jumping. It's not at all interesting, and if you played the first game, you've already seen all there is to see. Additionally, the first game had a bit more variety, seeing as you had to go through an abandoned subway beforehand. This one's just walking right. I like these crab enemies. They're called Yadokroids, and you can easily get them to suicide on the rails because once their shells are off, they just jump to the right, heedless of their own safety. Incidentally, the power form's super helpful here because it lets you kill the spikings with one jumping slash instead of two, which is a bit more tolerable. And now we arrive at the stage objective. El Pazo's planned Operation Righteous Strike requires quite a bit of raw resources in order to pull off, so we gotta steal them from Neo Arcadia. They aren't too keen on that though, which means these carry arms are gonna make a return appearance to try to steal them back from us. We can't let that happen, so we gotta slash them all to death. There's something like 40 that come down here, and you just gotta take them out as they appear. They come pretty quickly, so it can be pretty hard to keep them away from the boxes. There are 10 of them, and for each one the carry arms successfully carry off, you lose 2 mission points, which is not acceptable for us. If you stay in one place, they'll come in a pretty predetermined order, so I like standing on the second from the left and just slashing left, right, and then middle. It doesn't last too long, but you know, after taking the beating that the stage has likely dished out to you from the spikings and the rail gates, there's a good chance you might die. Thankfully, after finishing that, it gives you a checkpoint, and regardless, the stage isn't too long afterwards. This little kitty is Panther Claws, and he's the one we'll be playing with today. Like Heilig Orabuckle, the fight with him takes place on a rather odd arena, in this case 2 separate trains. I like how the perspective changes here too, seeing as we're looking at them from the back. They move up and down, which can make dodging his electric-based attacks a little bit difficult, but you can just hide in between or on the sides of the train to avoid that. A notable exception is his EX skill. It's called Tail Spark, and it involves him engulfing the entire train car he is on in electricity, so you just gotta get as far away from him as possible in order to dodge that. He likes to move pretty quickly and has a lot of ranged attacks, which means you don't want to stay right next to him because you'll usually get hit. You get a little grace period in between his attacks, but otherwise it's better to just shoot him from a distance if you have a decent bustier level. I like how he slowly floats up here while the train goes down. Great spreading work. Once again, mission score here depends on how many of the boxes you saved. Our prizes for beating Panther are twofold. Firstly, we get the Thunder Chip, which allows us to charge our weapons with electricity. This was also in the last game, and I'll be elaborating a little bit on that in just a bit. We also get Panther's EX skill called the Spark Shot, which is reminiscent of the electricity he was just throwing our way in the battle. The form we acquire is called the Rise form. You get it for slashing 20 enemies while in the air. And seeing as the carry arms practically throw themselves at your saber, this stage is very, very good for getting the Rise form. I was actually a little curious about this part, so I did some research, and it turns out that even if you don't save a single box from the carry arms, Alpaza will still congratulate you and you'll still finish the mission successfully. I don't really like that, but you know, whatever. As for the menu, you'll see we have a new section allowing us to choose elemental chips. We only have the one right now, so we'll be choosing that one. And to show it off, we have to use a fully charged attack, so switching to the shield boomerang. I'll also switch to the Rise form because, you know, convenient, show them both off at the same time. The Rise form has the same power and defense as our normal form, but it's slightly faster, and I really like the white color scheme. When using an elemental chip, the weapon you're using gets tinted that element's color, in this case yellow. And in the Rise form's case, its special little gimmick is when using your saber slashes, the third one will go upwards, fitting for the Rise form. It lets you hit enemies above you pretty easily, and in all honesty, the Rise form doesn't really have any downsides, so I really like it. I'm going to do a little stealth jump cut here to my favorite weapon grinding spot in the game so I can show off my EX skills to you. This is going to be non-canon, and I'll be switching back to my unleveled self for the next part. But for now, I'll be showing off this, the laser shot, which we got from High Leg Aura Buckle. It pierces enemies, including ones with shields like the cacti in this stage. But it's also thinner than our normal charge shot, so I don't like it all that much. The Spark Shot that we just got from Panther Flaw Claw shoots a ball of electricity that splits up and down when it hits an enemy. You can only use it when you're equipped with the Thunder Chip, which makes it a little situational. This is what the Charge Buster Shot looks like without the EX skill equipped. It's not very noticeable. And that just about sums up all that I had to show you. Thanks for watching. Bye!